Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Corner Pod, wherein we talk about all things football. I'm your host Hari Keshav, and today we've got a blockbuster lineup. First up, joining us is Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, good evening, guys. Thank you for having me here.
Absolute pleasure, Nathan. For those who do not know who Nathan is, especially from a Manchester United perspective, you've been living under the hyena, which is being buried in Old Trafford, because he's a not only a diehard Man United fan, but quite a popular face in the Manchester United fan base on YouTube. His channel, Sports Nut Nathan, has already built a loyal community and amassed over 2.4K subscribers. So very well done, um, Nathan, on that.
Thank you.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Sure, it started out as trying to find people who watch football because my close friends don't actually watch sports. Really started out that way, and then yeah, it's gone to where it is now so far.
That's being humble, but
I mean,
anyways,
that's the truth. I don't know if it's humble or not. It's the truth, but that's accurate. Yeah.
brilliant. But guys, whoever has not known about Nathan, please go show some love to his channel. I think he's done some fantastic content, especially on Man United. I really like the short video formats that you do before and after games. Nathan, wonderful job there. And thank you so much for coming here again.
No, this is fun. I enjoy this kind of discourse. I think this is why football fan channels are exploding on social media. So yeah.
Brilliant, Nathan. Thank you so much. And alongside him, a very familiar face on the channel, someone who needs no introduction in our Football Corner Pod community. Entrepreneur by day, statistician by night, diehard Chelsea fan through and through. Couldn't have come up with a better introduction to Krishnan Bhai.
Thank you, Haribhai. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back on the podcast. And people are always asking me, where's that Mohandas Menon of our podcast? Bring him on. Let's talk numbers. So we've had you here again to go through all the awful numbers that Amorim can put forth. So yeah, please feel free to chime in whenever you can.
Yes. We'll do that. We'll do that. I have some numbers with me, so let's do it.
Perfect, perfect. Great. Looking forward to today. So, what we are going to talk about in today's episode is we're going to deep dive into the chaos, the eternal chaos, which is Manchester United. Derby Day hangover, is Ruben Amorim's nightmare stats, is his job safe, the big Kobe Mainoo conundrum, what's really going wrong at Old Trafford. So, these are all from a Manchester United perspective. And then we'll go over to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea have started the season okay, but there's some problems at the back. There's some defensive disasters, not just in the Premier League, but also we saw in the Champions League yesterday night. Palmer, again, back amongst the goals, which is good news. And more importantly, we will also preview the Chelsea versus United game. So these are the things that we want to talk about in the episode. So let's quickly dive into the chaos, eternal chaos, which is Manchester United. Nathan, I saw the lineup for the game against City, and I already thought that this guy is in trouble. And then comes the performance, which is basically the same thing we've seen again and again. Where do we go with this team? Now, there should be some sort of a project or some sort of a gameplay that you must be seeing every game. If you're not winning matches, you should at least have a style. You should at least have some set plans. Okay, this is how the team is going to play. You're not seeing a gameplay, you're not seeing tactics, you're not seeing anything new, but just forlorn manager every time who's getting more and more toxic and caustic at what is happening to him and the team. So where do you think we go from here as a fan base? And do you think his job is safe, Nick?
Oh, wait, the perfect question. I was going to start by saying I don't think he's safe because, see, or the one thing I don't enjoy about tacticals is that everyone sells you a dream, and then when that person gets a job and he can't do it, everyone's like, ah, we were expecting this, we were expecting that. So from the time we appointed Eric Ten Hag, I saw one video, I got really gassed. And then after that, I never watched a tactic video again. Now, I'm not saying tactic videos are wrong or don't watch it. If you want for education purposes, watch it for sure because that it just enriches your own IQ. But as far as implementation of said tactics from these videos, have no expectation. And that's where it started from me because the thing with Ruben Amorim is he says, if you want to change the system, change me. And quite honestly, it sounds like people will say you might be you're being too negative, but it sounds like he's given up. And the thing with giving up is it doesn't matter what you say if it cannot be enforced by the players or you cannot get through to the players, they will also follow suit. Now, in a club where a lot of people have said the players are the ones that end up sacking the manager, this man has not been in the job long enough to even blame the players on for that. Because there was links, and I don't know if Krishnan knows this. There were links that he apparently wanted to quit in January, and he came in October.
Yeah. Yeah.
So allegedly, if that is true, that is setting a terrible precedence before anything happens. So I don't think he's going to change anything. The people say the issue is not the system, but I think the issue is the system. Even if the issue are the
Mm.
players, the issue is also the system. The real biggest issue is the misuse of the players,
Yeah.
playing them in the wrong position. I think it is actually a combination of all three. Because people go, it's the players, yeah, but if you're being very honest, there's no excuse to finish 15th. These
Absolutely.
players are not 15th level. Whatever you think about them, however good or bad you think they are, they're not 15th. Just like Chelsea a couple of years ago when they finished what 11th. No one thought Chelsea was the 11th place team, right? I don't think so, at least. So
No.
I think he's shooting himself in the foot, basically. And I think if you have a two-man midfield when everyone's playing three men in the midfield, the majority of them,
Exactly.
I think it's destined to fail.
If I really have to add on, right? So, speaking of tactics, we'll stick to the same topic. Only one manager in the history of the Premier League has won with a
Conte.
three-man defense.
Conte.
Antonio Conte with Chelsea in 2016 and 17. Now, the only reason why he could succeed while playing a three-man defense was he had two holding midfielders who were at their prime, Nemanja Matic and the great N'Golo Kante. Now, when you are playing with three defenders at the back, three men at the back, and when you have two tanks as your holding midfielder, you need to rely heavily on your wing backs for creativity. And that's clearly not happening with Ruben Amorim. So it is. I really wouldn't blame the players. It's more of tactical switch that needs to be addressed at the earliest. Okay, and it has come at a wrong time after being defeated by Manchester City last weekend. You are facing Chelsea, who are looking to regain some form after their midweek Champions League defeat. An immediate concern is your tactical and your formation that really needs to be addressed. Okay, now three men at the back who are totally incapable. All of your three new summer signings of Sesko, Kuna, and Brian Mwembo, all three firing blanks. So I think it's more of a tactical switch and a formation switch that needs to be addressed as early as possible if he really has to save his job. I think in the last 41 I think in the total of 41 games that Amorim has managed, only 17 wins. 8 Premier League wins in the last 8 months. The lowest record of win percentage for any United manager since World War II. 36.2%. So I think Amorim is really on walking on thin ice. He probably just has one or two games out of the League Cup. Early September, the only trophy you have left to play for is the FA Cup. You have nothing to look forward to, so it's going to be like a very tough time. And it's not that United didn't have a good summer, right? He got the players that he wanted. Yeah, may not be, they didn't, there was not a lot of defensive reinforcements. He got the three attackers that he wanted, but I think the need of the hour is to make a tactical switch. Yeah, three at the back is not working, fine. Play for four at the back. I remember that season 16-17, Conte was playing against Arsenal. He played with four at the back against Arsenal. It wasn't working. Half time, shifted to three at the back. Chelsea ended up winning that game. So Amarim has to start reading games now. He has to start watching closely what's happening. It's not that he's not aware of. I think it's just a matter of time before things can go really wrong for
Yeah,
United. So
if
that's
it
my
already
take.
hasn't. But Nathan, some really salient points you made and also Krishnan made, and I just want to touch upon those. So Krishnan pointed out that your creativity should come from your wing backs. and we have defensive minded players are our wing backs, and clearly this system calls out for proper wingers to be played as wing backs, and he's tried that. We've had Ahmad, who's being played at right wing back. I don't know if that's his best position again, but this is clearly what the system asked for. That has clearly not worked. If nothing, it has nullified Ahmad, it has nullified Mbomo, because there's no chemistry between the two. And he's playing Dorgo out of position by playing him left wing back, which is again all square pegs in round holes. So this is number one. Number two is that I think the best, we talk about tactics again, coming back to tactics and coming back to this thing, but don't you think the best attribute of any manager is to make sure that all your players are on the same wavelength? As to, if I am underlapping, are you overlapping? If I am overlapping, am I underlapping? If you're going front, should I defend? This team feels like there is 11 people always who've never played together. They're never on the same wavelength. This could also be the case that we've also bought some reinforcements on the summer, but even last year, when these guys were playing for a while, these guys are training, they don't have midweek games. This season, we don't even have midweek games. So these guys are probably training together, and you expect some sort of chemistry. And some of the transfers did happen early, but why is that? I see some deeper issues. Let it be from not just from a tactical perspective, but also from just a basic attribute of a manager, which is to bring the team closer together, make them all play on the same wavelength. Why is this all missing? Or is it because it's just too toxic at United always that you don't get to see all these things, Nathan?
If you were to believe what rumors say, they say the toxicity levels are low, and at the beginning
Hmm.
of the season, they said morals were high. Either the reporting's bad, or
Yeah.
either the reporting is bad, or it's convenience now because it's not working. Because you're getting
Hmm.
videos of people at Japanese restaurants showing Diego Leon eating sushi for the first time, and everyone like encouraging him how to learn eat with sports chopsticks. It sounds weird. It's not exactly anything I care about, but at the same time, it is cool to see it because it's like a group bonding thing, especially for a kid who's probably alien to every single thing he sees. Like Paraguay is a long way from England. Who knows what they do there culturally, bonding wise.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
get it from that point of view, not to mention, of course, he's also 17. A lot
Yeah.
of things are alien to him. He is a kid. So based on things like that, people say the morale is high. So either the morale's high because you don't have any choice because you always want to start the beginning of the season positively with a positive mindset, or the reporting is just a smokescreen for what is really happening
Hmm.
again one more year. The difference I
Hmm.
would say is that as the years went on, they openly used to say
Hmm.
there were dressing room leaks, it's
Hmm.
toxic, players, agents. We used to get that information. Today, we are getting no information. In fact, we're getting mostly positive information before the season began. So
Hmm.
it's really difficult to pinpoint what is the issue. One of the
Hmm.
issues is definitely the way he behaves. He
Hmm.
cannot afford to be so emotional in this kind
Yeah.
of job. And also, he's not emotional where it counts. Like in the, I don't want, that sounds harsh, but like when we are struggling on the pitch sometimes he's sitting down and like looking at a book or he's talking to his assistant coaches instead of getting up there and just like flinging his hands around. Simeone would do or Pep would do or someone like that or Klopp would do. He's sitting down there. I'm sure he's doing something. He's not a fool. He's definitely doing something coaching related. Some people do not respond to that. Some people don't respond to, okay,
Hmm.
when you're ready, give me your tactics, then we will. There's always people, if you notice, players are always looking at the coach, right? Because they're always yelling.
Hmm.
Someone is yelling to somebody
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
The only time I see Amorim get up off his feet is after we score a goal. It's almost like he tells everyone to reset. You notice he like calls someone over, he says something to them, or during the drinks break. It's almost like he times the injury break to give words to people. And I think you have to, especially when we're struggling, I think you have to be boots on the ground 90 minutes.
Hmm.
Whatever you need to say, you need to say it in real time.
Hmm.
You cannot wait for a break to happen.
Hmm.
So I think there are lots of issues. You could say players, but definitely coaches. You can say tactics, but definitely mentality. You can say positions, but also roles. It's a vast array of complex. actions that is leading to our current state.
And I'd like to add 2 points here. Again, not sure if you guys would agree with the first one. I think ever since Ineos took over, I think when after Sir Jim Ratcliffe came into the picture, things have been pretty
Hmm.
shaky at United in terms of morale or in terms of the way he manages things.
Nathan, when do you think United? Question one, should they cut their losses now and say, okay, we don't have EFL Cup, we have only FA Cup and 34 game weeks to go. And realistically, if we were to get some sort of Europe next year, do we allow this to go from bad to worse and then appoint someone? Or do you say, okay, no, this is a new season. We're going to give this guy time until, I don't know, when is the totally bottom of this situation and then see where it goes from there. What do you think? Based on everything that he said, everything that has happened, and also how we've started the season.
So the way I see things at the moment is I think by the Liverpool game, if the trajectory is meant, he will be sacked.
Mhm.
Because first of all, I don't know if you saw this today, but there was a tweet about Ben Jacobs on the United stand. It says if he doesn't finish 1 year, he'll be entitled 12 million pounds. So part of me is wondering, part
But
of
he's also said that I will walk away and
yeah,
not want any compensation.
yeah, but you know what the problem with that is? It won't look good with Ineos.
I
Even
agree.
if he does do that, it won't look good on Ineos. And
Mm.
Ineos is they're too PR heavy right now to be ruthless.
Yeah. But if anything that statement says, Nathan, is that he's already thought about it. This
Well,
guy,
that's what
he has been very
we were
clear,
talking
right?
about that
Yeah,
earlier, right? He has allegedly thought about it in January of
yeah.
the winter transfer window. So he's definitely thought about it. I don't think anyone will deny that. If again, if the alleged reports are true, we know for a fact he has already contemplated leaving. My thing is when you're a 40-year-old man,
Mm,
nobody told you to sign a contract. Don't sign it. You
mm,
should have stayed. Why did you
mm.
bend to the management pressure and leave Sporting
Yeah,
Lisbon mid-season?
yeah,
You had a good thing going. You didn't want to go to West Ham, right? You didn't want to go to West Ham before the season started. Apparently, you were linked to Liverpool as well or something. So,
City.
yeah, he had Premier League links, is my point. And then he said no to them, and then a month and a half later, he joins us. Now, the thing
Yeah,
is, if you have seen us play football, first of all, we don't play a back three, right? What comes with that is the fact that the majority of these players have never played a back three themselves. In even before we got them, majority of them have not
yeah,
played a back three.
yeah, yeah.
So people go, it's not the formation. So I always give people the benefit of the doubt because even I also
Mm,
like to think it's not the formation sometimes. But the thing is, even if it's not the formation, it's the roles in which the formation is played in. So the roles of the players required to play in that formation. For example, a right back, if he's truly balanced, he will chug up and down automatically. That's just in the DNA. Whereas a wing back, because there's a third center back, he'll cover the right half space if needed to sweep. If they're ever in trouble, they don't necessarily have to fall back straight away on the counter because there's two center mids up to center halves right in the middle of the pitch, so the width is open on both ends. So things like that, roles which people naturally play, don't come natural to them if they've never done it. So for example, Ahmad has a trouble tracking back. It's not
yeah,
he doesn't have trouble defending because
true.
when you play in the championship, no, you have to learn how to defend. It doesn't matter which position you
Correct.
play in because that is how
Mm,
hectic the championship is in general. Your quality you can't get away with your quality because people will be on you, physically on you the whole time. And then in the other way, because people wanted Mazraoui. People like Ash wanted Mazraoui when if he comes back. Mazraoui or Ahmad, he'd prefer over Dallo. Mazraoui played 62 minutes, made two crosses. They literally got blocked by the person marking his run. Not even the first person as the cross goes through, blocking his run. So he didn't even make a cross technically. They'll say it's a cross. It doesn't even go anywhere. So he took 62 minutes. Clear indication that it's not going to work at right wing back because he also,
mm,
I don't think he can bob up and down the whole time. That's another thing I
mm.
think. He's also coming back from injury, of course.
Yeah,
And the other issue is Dallow's the only one who can do it, but he has a lot of defensive, I shouldn't say frailties. He tries to get out of trouble by using his dribbling. It's not necessarily a defensive frailty if you let the person come on to you and then you get your pocket picked. It's a defensive frailty if you can't slide tackle, you can't shoulder barge, you can't hold off the person. Dallo tries to trick his way around people sometimes instead of wasting his energy running past them. So he has those issues, and his crosses aren't the most accurate either. But the problem is he's the best out of the three, and all three of them do. All three of them have never been a right wing back. That is the worst part.
Hmm.
So roles in the formation are a problem. So that's why people, I think, say it's a formation issue, which a lot of people say it's not a formation issue. But the formation indicates the roles, and the roles must be done with the players you have, and we don't have players who can do most of them. So
Exactly. You have to go to work with the tools that you have. You can't complain that.
it's like me telling you Cole Palmer's going to play right back.
Yeah,
That's not, even if he agrees to do it, it's not going to work out very well. Whole long-winded thing I said is that you pick the players to play those places in those
yeah,
positions. So it's
yeah.
you make the assessment and then go, we are going to play the best number 10 in the last 5 years in the Premier League at centre mid. And then and
Exactly.
then people go, it's Bruno's fault, he's not chasing markers. I'm like, that's not in his instincts to do so. You are counteracting what he is actually bought for. Like I said, if I bought Cole Palmer and played him at right back, he'd be like, "What are we doing? What are we doing? You spent 50 million on me to play right back. What are we doing? Play right wing, fine. I rather play off the center. I can move and cut on my left. I can, but if you play me at right back, I can't cut in, can I? Like how who's cutting in and who's going to stand next to me there when no one's there? So that's what I'm saying. It's like even as I always tell people, even if we suck, even if we absolutely suck, no, I'm willing to even accept we absolutely suck. But at least play everyone where they give them a chance to do well. Give them a chance.
Absolutely. Yeah. This whole conversation reminds me of that meme where this woman is trying to, do you know those shapes where she's trying to tell, okay, this is a round
Yeah,
piece and it's supposed to go in the round hole.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
goes into the square.
yeah.
And then everything is going into the square. So that's exactly, I couldn't agree with you more, Nathan. And that's why I feel he's literally a dead man walking. So I just wanted to bring you in. Do you think United would be better off to say, hey, we can cut our losses now and then you can walk away? Or do you think, yeah, and also, if they were to do that, who do you think in their right minds is going to come to a poison chalice of a club which is Man United at this time? Because everybody who's come, players, managers, directors, backroom staff, everybody comes to United at the peak and then goes on a downward trajectory and they're just, yeah, it never goes up then again. So, what do you think from a.
I think 41 games is good enough to assess a
Mm,
manager. Yeah. He's had his time. He's had two transfer windows to get in, and I think that is more than a good enough time to at least make an impact in the Premier League with a club like Manchester United. But he's failed to do. And knowing Chelsea and our luck, I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United turn into prime Barcelona against us over the weekend. That might actually save his job. But jokes apart, who in their right mind would come to manage United? I don't know. I think the only manager available in the market right now is Gareth Southgate. The only available manager right now. I Jose Mourinho has gone to Benfica now, so he wouldn't come back to United. I don't think Solskjaer would even want to come back given the current setup.
there's always
I don't know. Sam Allardyce,
there's always Ten
yeah,
Hag.
Sam, yeah, Big Sam, Big Sam. I even Ten Hag also would had a disaster at United, so I don't
No, no,
think Ten
I'm
Hag would even be
kidding.
considered. Probably, yeah, probably Big Sam or Gareth Southgate would probably be one of the two English managers. Considering Ineos is at the helm, so they'll probably look for an English manager. And I don't know. I think Gareth Southgate has a chance here. You never know how that will turn out to be.
My God, Nathan from Ruben.
But again, we'll have to wait till the weekend. We really have to wait till the weekend. I don't know if United will turn into prime Barcelona again. So
Oh.
that always happens. Any managers on the line when they face Chelsea, oh, they're at their prime. So you never know what's going to happen. Let's see.
Krishnan, I'm an optimist, and even a diehard United fan would say, I just hope that we don't get embarrassed at Old Trafford.
Chelsea haven't won at Old Trafford since May
Yeah.
2013. Juan Mata was the last he scored that goal, right? So it's been 12 years since we won at Old Trafford. So I am really looking forward for a win as well. So let's hope we get the three
Krishnan, you're
points.
living like me in the past. See this 2008 jersey? See? Yeah, yeah,
2008
yeah.
Chelsea. Yeah, 2000
Yeah,
United
yeah.
jersey.
We are
Yeah.
living in the past, and so are you. But anyways, Nathan, just to close this off.
The poster at the back, it says back to back Premier League champion. So you can imagine how old that probably could be then.
But Nathan, just to finish this United chapter, and then let's move on to Chelsea. But if not Ruben Amorim, who do you think is in their right mind? That please and say anybody apart from Gareth Southgate and Sam Allardyce,
So
because
the problem here is a couple of weeks ago doing a live stream and people were fed up and they were like asking me, Nathan, it doesn't matter. I know you're Ammerman. I was like, so basically they asked me, are you out? I'm like, I don't want to comment on that because it's pointless at the moment. So they were like, okay, fine. Let's say whether you're Amarim or out. Let's say he doesn't make it. I told them I hope he makes it because I don't want to tell you who I think is going to get the job. And they were like, who do you think is going to get the job? I said, I think it's going to be Michael Carrick. And today afternoon, Indian time, there is a link with Michael Carrick linked to the job. And I was like,
Jesus
unbelievable,
Christ.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to get McKenna in the summer, so you never know with these things. Let's see. But Christian, by you can even wish for a Chelsea win, and I wouldn't have any hard feelings for you. But you can't expect Sam Allardyce and Gareth Southgate on United. I think you're a bigger person than that. Let's
You
see.
never know,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
absolutely, you never know. Yeah, but let's come back to Chelsea. The one thing that I love about Chelsea and I envy about Chelsea is you can sack your managers, you can have this big player rigmarole, manager rigmarole. Doesn't matter. Chelsea doesn't have of the word rebuild in their dictionary. They somehow hook or crook they make it. If not one season, they are there the other season. But this season, clearly there was a lot to look forward to. World champions, Conference League winners. Maresca has done a fantastic job with the team, with whatever the tools that he had, even though Todd Bowley was playing fantasy NFL or football with the team. And the summer window also looked a lot like that. I think most of the bits have fallen into the places that Maresca would like, but then Chelsea, I feel from my perspective, are committing way too many mistakes. And whenever they do commit these mistakes, they've been very harshly also punished for it. Let's take Brentford, let's take Bayern Munich yesterday. I thought Chelsea played really well, both these games. If they had taken their chances, probably they're winning with 2 goals to spare as well. But whenever they commit these mistakes, and also all of these mistakes are being made in the defensive side in your own half so that people are
Yes.
getting picked. And also against Brentford, the person that we have wholeheartedly given to you doesn't track his runner. And then, yeah, it's 2-2. So
Yeah, but
that's
I
the
mean,
gift.
see, this seems like a weird agenda though, because what difference it makes which player was marking or not? The ball should have
Yeah.
never passed the first header from a throw in. See,
Past
this
the
is the other
first.
thing. Like people talk about the marker who ends up the person who should have marking the person who scored the goal. But if there are mistakes that are before that, then shouldn't chronologically speaking, the first miss
The ball shouldn't have
exactly. So the
reached there
first
ideally.
mistake should
Okay.
be the header where you have to be strong because I mean everyone's standing there. You know exactly what is happening. He's going to come running down and throw it to in this direction.
And that was like the third throw in of a similar nature. Yeah, so you were expecting that would happen, right? Because you had two throw ins which they failed to do so, and the third throw in eventually they managed to score. Anyways, coming back to the transfer window, I think honestly, if I were to rate this transfer window, I would give it an above average
Mm-hmm.
6. Yeah, because right at the beginning of the transfer window, you had your task cut out. You had to strengthen your defense and your
Mm-hmm.
goalkeeper. Let's face it, Robert Sanchez is not Manuel Neuer or David De Gea. Okay, he had his share of mistakes, and he was being backed by Maresca all through last season. At the beginning of our transfer window, we had a task cut out to sign to strengthen your defense. At the end of your transfer window, we still ended up with signing no defenders except for Jarl Hato.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the only defensive strengthening that we had. So if you really have to challenge for multiple titles, and remember you are playing in the Champions League this season, if you have to turn up against Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, Napoli, Atlanta, you need to have a strong defense. You need to ideally we should have, instead of focusing too much on attackers, we signed Gittins, Garnacho, Delap. Pedro. Yeah, instead of focusing too much on attack, instead of focusing too much on defense, we I think all the money was spent on attack. And people brag, honestly, right? People brag, oh, we made 300 million in sales. You're not going to get 3 points because you sold players worth 300
Yeah.
million.
And also, I think that situation got worse due to Colville injury even before the season
Colville's
started. Yeah.
injury, right? Yeah, see, I'll be very honest with you. Colville got injured, Delap got
Yeah.
injured. I panicked more because Colville was
True.
injured. And I really didn't care if Delap was
No.
injured or
No.
not. Because you have 10 other attackers for that to fill those four positions, but you do not have good
Mm.
defenders. And see, let's face it, the Premier League is getting physically challenging and competitive with every season. As I mentioned earlier, every season you have new teams coming up who are challenging even the bigger clubs. Liverpool were solid in defense last season, right? Like they had a lot of clean sheets, and I think Konate and Van Dijk were so solid last season. This season, you can see them struggling, right? It does not say that Liverpool are bad or
Yeah.
something. It just goes to show you how
Yeah.
competitive the Premier League has
That is
become.
true.
Yeah. So at this moment, I think the need of the hour was to strengthen the
Mm.
defense and not focus too much on attack. But I think the club had different ideas, and especially right when you have midweek games, when you are challenging for the League Cup, when you want to secure, when you really want to challenge for the league title, when you want to win the FA Cup, when you want to get to the Champions League knockout stages, you need to really have a good defense. Attack can win you games, but if you really want to win a title, only a good defense can win you a title.
Mm.
And I think that was completely overlooked. So I think this was really a disappointing transfer
Mm.
window for
Mm.
me. As much as people might disagree with what I say, oh, we have Joao Pedro who can
Mm.
score goals. Yes, you have Joao Pedro who can score 3 goals, 4 goals. But when you have a defense that leaks in goals week in and week out, and I think that's really not an excuse to give. And as you rightly mentioned, I think every mistake turns out to be crucial for Chelsea because the club's Premier League has become so attack focused now. It was unlike 10, 15 years back when you clubs used to win 2-0 and 1-0, and now that's really not the case. Every game week you have clubs scoring goals left and center. So defensively you can't afford to make a single mistake. And I think in the Brentford game also, where defensively we slept, it was a costly mistake, and even the first goal also. So I think all these mistakes are proving to be crucial. And if we don't make defensive reinforcement in the winter transfer
Mhm.
window, you really can't challenge for a
Okay.
title. You again, you will huff and puff and try and get us. You will secure a top four, but that's really not what you want
Mm.
right now. Yeah, if you look at it, right, in the last 4 seasons we've struggled to reach top four. Even the last season, also the last game of the last season, until the 60th minute, we did not know whether we would be playing Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League this season.
Fair.
We had to beat Nottingham Forest. We were lucky that Amy Martinez got a red card for Aston
Mm.
Villa. Yeah, and Newcastle had to drop points. So it's not a comfortable top four
True.
finish. Yeah, and all of this is because of your
Mm.
defense, right? Like you might have a brilliant attack, but if your defense is not that great, there is absolutely
Mhm.
no point. Yeah, and Colwell's injury is just is rubbing salt on
Mm.
our wounds currently
Mm.
right now. Yeah, it's going to be. I hope the club hierarchy sees this, and I think hopefully, at least by the winter transfer window, we make a lot of defensive reinforcements. See, I think this season we've scored nine
Mm.
goals. We've had an average possession of 62% per game, but that's really not enough, right? Though I think those small mistakes. If you are a club challenging for the title, if you are a club challenging for multiple trophies, you can't afford to make those small mistakes. Yeah, and especially in the Champions League when you are facing clubs who are at their prime, in the form of Bayern Munich. So you still have Benfica to play, you still have Barcelona to play, you still have Napoli to play. It's going to be difficult from here on. It's not going to be a rosy journey in the Champions League. And with this defense, you really can't like dream of winning the Champions League, let alone Premier League or the other
Mm.
domestic trophies.
But what is your ideal back four now, given the considerations that Chelsea have to make with the Colville injury? Are you happy with Chaloba and Tosin?
If I mean without Colville, okay, you have no other option. It's going to be Cucurella, it's going to be Trevor Chaloba, it is
Mm.
Tosin, and you can with Reece James as the right back now. But I think I think Colville was like the best defender last season for
Mm.
us, and missing, it's very difficult, right? Because when you have to play midweek and you have to play again over the weekend with crucial games, you really can't afford to rest. See, you can always rotate your attack and your midfield, but your defense has to pretty much be the same across all games, right? Because if you ask me personally, I would say a defense is more important than your midfield or your attack. Yeah, your defense has to be in
Definitely.
unity. You can't keep rotating defenders and expect them to perform. So if we had probably an Antonio Silva or a
Hmm.
Bastoni in the defense, that would actually give put us in a strong
Hmm.
position. But I think, and let's face it, players are fragile in this
Yeah,
era.
that is true.
Players are extremely prone to injuries. We have lost so many games. How many games has Fofana and Reece James missed for us in the last 2 3 seasons?
Absolutely. But on the flip side, how many games are these players playing also? This is also going to be a World Cup year.
Well,
So the
Reece
amount of
James has
games
not
is
played a
massive.
lot of games.
Yeah. No, no,
Fofana
in
has
general,
not
The,
played
in
a lot.
general.
those two players have not played any
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. That is true.
Players are so
Yeah.
fragile, and that's how. And see, Premier League is getting physically intensive, right? And you will become prone to more injuries. The game is evolving, tactics are evolving. You're no longer in the standard era of 4-4-2
Absolutely.
Mm.
formation. You have 3-5-2. You have inverted right back. You have inverted center backs. You will have inverted goalkeeper also going forward. You never know, right, what's happening. So with the change in, there is a tactical shift to the game in itself, to the natural game in itself, and it it puts a lot of mental toll and a physical toll on players, and that's when they become easily injury prone. Yeah, how many games did Delap miss last season for Ipswich? And he's already out with
Yeah.
hamstring, and he's going to be back only in
Yeah.
November. It's high time that the hierarchy looks into all of these things, and I think the need of the hour is to sign two good defenders in the January transfer window if you really have to make an if you really want to make an
Mhm.
impact in all the 4 5 competitions that you are actually playing for. Yes, we won the Club World Cup. Fine, absolutely understandable. But you can't hold on to the trophy, and you can't just boast saying, "Oh, we made 300 million in player sales." That's not going to give you 3 points. That's not going to give you any title. It's just going to give you bragging rights for like ten
Do you
minutes. That's
think,
all.
on the flip side, because sports science has never been the best it's been, it never ever been as good as it's been now, and the fact that Liverpool with a very thin squad and Man City a few years ago with a very thin squad of a small group of players, they managed to rotate and win. Don't you think there's something to be said about maybe something's wrong behind the scenes? Like certain players will be injury prone no matter what you do, for sure. But because that's just their biology. That's just what they are consisted of. They're genetically that way, predisposed to get more injuries based on the stress they take in playing. But when you look at Liverpool and you look at Man City, a lot of people, I mean, they are probably unsung heroes. You probably have to talk to Liverpool fans to for them to clarify it. But I think a lot of them give credit to the medical team.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, and see, it also depends. One thing, sorry to interrupt, Hari. It also depends on, I think, your manager tactics. Simple example I'll
True.
give you. Osmano Dembele in Barcelona was injury
Yeah.
prone throughout and throughout. Okay. In PSG
Yeah.
under Luis Enrique, he's a different player altogether. Yeah. So it also depends on your training, on your schema of training that a manager adopts, identifying the strengths. And again, as you said, sports science has evolved, but are players able to cope up with the modern day pressure? I highly doubt so. Yeah, I mean, look at the centre backs of 10, 15 years ago. Nemanja Vidic would give his life for Sir Alex Ferguson. He's played with injuries. He's like, you need defenders who can give their life to their managers, and not fragile defenders who are made of glass. Yeah. Yes, sports science has evolved, but again, the game is getting physical, but the players are not that strong enough to take in that, and that's when they become extremely prone to injuries. And the I still can't. We paid 80 million for Fofana, and how many games has he played? Has he played 3 games straight for the club? No,
Makes
he
he makes
hasn't.
Harry Maguire look like a good buy, doesn't he?
At the same price. Yeah, absolutely. I think
Exactly.
also I remember Klopp famously saying that one of the best signings that he's made was a woman physio. Exactly. And he famously said, she's my first world class signing I ever made at Liverpool before he went and signed all of those amazing players. But Let's preview the Chelsea versus United game. Nathan, from a United perspective, what do you want to see on Saturday? I know for a fact, for the person you are and the passion that you have, you're not going to say, I just wish United would get obliterated such that we're going to get the manager sacked. But jokes apart, what do you want to see on Saturday?
Honestly, obvious answer is a win, but if I am to be really specific, is I just want the
Mm,
3 points. Like
mm,
even if we drag it and make it a 1-0 win, even if it's
mm,
the worst goal, I'll take it. And the reason I'll take it is not because I'm fed up of losing, but
mm,
I'm still holding out slightly for the fact that there will be a turning point still in the coach's ability to get something out of these players. Now, as far as being optimistic about it, not really, but I'm hoping simply because it's just more of a headache to deal with. Quite honestly, it's not even a very complicated answer, it's just more of a headache we don't need right now. So we're hoping he'd at least make it till the end of this season
mm,
because they will not let his contract go into his last season. He's here only till 2027.
mm.
So I think if we finish seventh, eighth, I think they will let him go and we'll get a new manager at the beginning of next season. But if it continues like this, he's not going to make it past Liverpool. He just isn't.
Yeah. And what about this whole Kobe Menu conundrum? After we saw Bruno also, where he played against City and how awful he was there, and when it was also a perfect situation, now that Cunha and Mount was there to play him closer to goal as one of the
He
tens,
was never
do
going
you
to do it.
still think
He was never going to
he's
do
not
it.
going to do it?
I've so Anshuman, our fellow United content creator, he put a post out on his YouTube channel. He's no Mount, no Cunha. So we're going to see Bruno, Sesko, and I'm like, and I commented under it. I'm like, are you sure? Because I don't think so.
They did play, but Bruno was
No, no,
not closer to
no.
him.
He took a screenshot of the front three. It was like
Oh,
a
okay.
cutout screenshot of
Okay.
this is going to be our front. I'm like, I don't think so.
Uh,
I don't think
uh,
so. We're talking about you just mentioned what about the conundrum and mentioned Bruno. Here's the best part.
hmm,
He could have just played Bruno and Mane. Because if you ask anybody right now, nobody wants Ugarte to play football. And Ugarte got picked in front of Casemiro. See, listen, I don't want to bash on Ugarte. It's not his fault, right? He was bought by Ten Hag, or if you were to believe it, Ineos. Manager got sacked. New manager came in. Again, different way of playing the whole thing. We've already just done this at the beginning of the stream. It's not Ugarte's fault. Even if you think he's crap, it's just not. Like some of these players have walked into this unknowingly, right? They didn't. They all expected to play under Ten Hag. They didn't. Basically, some of them, like Xerxes, Ugarte, whoever we bought last season. So he could have played with Ugarte, with Bruno, because why not? What is the worst that can happen? Because if we already saw Menu Ugarte against Grimsby, we lost. In fact, when Bruno came on, we played better.
yeah.
So clearly, Bruno is not the one who should be benched. I know everyone goes, he can't play eight, he can't play six, whatever number you'd like to add to that. The point of the matter is, which are the best two players you can start with? Menu Ugarte is clearly not it. Bruno Casemiro has been tried. Casemiro Menu has been tried last year. Bruno Casemiro has been tried this year and last year. But Bruno and Menu has not. So if you're going to lose, at least try everything in the process of losing.
Try and lose.
Try
That's why
everything.
we are getting. That's why we're getting linked to Carrick so that he can come and play in the
Bro,
midfield. And
Carrick's gonna play. Bro, we laugh, right? Don't be surprised if Carrick wins five straight.
yeah,
Then
absolutely. I'm not.
people will say, "Oh, the players got him sacked." I'm like, no, dude. It's you act like these players are like all on their villain arc to get Amorim sacked. Like some people, you can tell that some of these players are really trying. Just because you don't like them, just because you don't think they're good enough, that doesn't mean they're not trying. You can't just keep saying the players are sacking the manager every time. It's not fair. It's not fair. Let's say three people don't want you to play, and even all three of them are not necessarily your starters. You can't say the players didn't play for you because those guys are getting picked by you. They're happy. They're getting game time. They're getting opportunities to play. Why would they not play for you?
Yeah.
So if Carey comes, rips five wins in, everyone will go, these people got him sacked. I'm like, okay, what else to say? There are clear holes in everything. But it'll go back to the players because they'll be like, Bruno's played under five managers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other players have played under five managers. Like the logic of how many managers you play under is more a tell on the management instead of the players. Because the management are the ones that are hiring everyone below them. I don't know.
True. Perfect. Then 1-0 to United would be a perfect scorecard. So let's see who the
I don't know about perfect, man. It depends. When are they scoring the one goal?
who's going to
We
be
could be sitting there for 1.5 hours waiting for the goals. Yeah.
probably next season when we play Chelsea. Or well, let's see who's going to be Ruben Amorim's Gary Pallister who gets his career back on track. But Krishnan, let's come back to you then. What do you want to see with Chelsea and against United? You did say that Chelsea haven't won at Old Trafford in a while, and I think if this Saturday would be a perfect opportunity to rub some salt on what has been a storied rivalry. Yeah.
I think a win would with a clean
Hmm.
sheet would make me more
Mhm.
happy. Yeah, there's no point in conceding first and then scoring two goals later. I'd rather take a win with a clean sheet, so that would be much sweeter to me as well. I'm really not too worried about the attack. Yeah, and I think speaking of Robert Sanchez, even though he had a horrendous last season, I think this season so far in the four game weeks, and one in the Champions League, he's been pretty decent so far. I wouldn't call him world class
And
yet.
also in
He's
the
been pretty
and
decent
also
so far.
wouldn't you say in the Club World Cup? I think he was one of the mainstays in that Club World Cup victory, I would say.
Yes.
The whole thing.
Yeah. So I think it's up to the
Hmm.
defense now to not make those errors that lead to goals now. So I think I would still say a 2-0 victory to Chelsea is what I'm looking at, and that would really help us in the coming weeks because we have a tough few fixtures after this. We play Barcelona, we play Benfica, we play Napoli, and it's not going to be easy for
Hmm.
us. So I think a 2-0, I think any victory with a clean sheet is going to really help
Nice.
us.
Do we want to talk about the tantalizing subplot, which is Alejandro Garnacho back at Old Trafford? Nathan, what do you think?
Makes no difference to me. I makes no difference to me. I refuse to think about any of this now. Anything drama related, it's better to not think about anymore. I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody when they ask me about bad performances or what do you think about other teams doing right now. I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell them. We have got bigger problems. I don't really care what anyone else is doing right now. And that might sound like you're being dismissive and being a hater, but the reality is, if you break it down, if you
Yeah.
do enough research on it, it's
Yeah.
just the truth. It's not even about negating someone else's success. I can't be
Absolutely.
bothered with what you're doing because our club is falling at the seams here. You could win 9-0, no, and it's really no sweat off my back because I we are way too down in the doldrums to think about how good you are. Like it's not in our timeline at the moment, the thought of it. So whatever happens, if he celebrates, it'll be annoying. If he doesn't celebrate, he'll get hate from Chelsea. He's in a lose. We are in a lose. The only one who's winning is Chelsea Football Club because if they get good performances for him, they benefit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he get does performs well, we get nothing. Right? So we are in a lose. Garnacho needs to be careful only for this game. He can celebrate every other game he plays this season. So basically, Chelsea's in a win-win here with the Garnacho thing. I don't think, apart from the fact that maybe some people don't want him, but apart from that, I think Chelsea's a win-win. I also think he's better than Gittins. I don't know what everyone was like. Oh, Gittins is here. I'm like, are we really doing the winger
I'll
from Dortmund deal again? Are we really doing this? I'm like, fine, Gittins is better. I'm like, I don't want to participate in this. I've got bigger problems.
I was least interested. I know a lot of Chelsea fans will hate me for this, but I was least interested this transfer
Hmm.
window. Gittins, Delap. Garnacho was just like more of an ego and a statement
Yeah.
signing. That's it. It didn't have utility if you honestly,
Well,
if you were to ask me.
I actually think
Yeah.
he's better than Bino Gittins. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Of
I
course.
would put it this way. I would like, why did you spend money on Bino Gittins when you could have got a winger from the same league you play in? Not necessarily Garnacho, by the way. I'm generalizing in terms of money spent. Yeah.
So money could have been spent wisely if you were to
Tell us
ask me.
about
We could
that.
have
Tell us
spent
about
that
it.
money. Yeah. Yeah. So I was least interested. So I would just rate this transfer window 6 on 10. That six is only because of okay, fine. We still have so many deadwoods to get rid of. Yeah. And I still feel bad for the way Chilwell was treated. And Chilwell, yeah, I think he was one of our best defenders few seasons ago. And again, as I said, modern football, right? People talk about you don't fit into the system. I don't know what system people are referring to about a defender's job is to defend, and he will defend, and he will give you his life for the team and for the manager. Again, football has evolved so much that people start talking about systems and roles and everything. So yeah, so least interested about
Roles at least make
Garnacho.
sense because roles at least is universal, right? Because like you just said,
Yeah,
right? Defenders defend. I'm not expecting them to come and ping a ball. You know,
exactly.
the roles at least make sense. They're like,
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't fit
yeah.
the system. I'm like, you mean standing on grass where he's supposed to stand on grass?
I
Okay.
still don't know what system
Uh,
that people talk about, like Maresca's system. I'm like, what is Maresca's system? He's a defender. He will defend. He will make sure that you get a clean sheet. That's it. That's all. Or maybe I don't know. Football is too evolved for me to understand all of these things. Could be, yeah, yeah. So I'm least interested with if Garnacho scores, he will celebrate. Fine, I get 3 points. Okay,
exactly.
fine, good. That's all. So really not going to make a difference. Yeah.
Wow, I thought the whole of this episode we are going to talk about Garnacho, but really we have mature guests on this show who's not
It's
going to.
not that, yeah. The lot of the fan base don't want him, and a lot of our fan
Yeah,
base doesn't want him. So what is the point of talking about it? If he
yeah,
scores against
true.
us, people will be like, we shouldn't have sold him. The other half will be like, he was shit. You know, whatever, he wore those jerseys and all. Then the
Mm,
Chelsea fan base is, we have 500 million on wingers here. God knows if they'll play or not. And they're like, we if he scores, great, because we have spent so much money on this part of the field. Like someone should score. There's nothing exciting about now. If you went like if it was Delap versus Sheshko, now we are all sitting here going,
mm,
okay, which new striker
mm.
is going to cook? Then that at least
Yeah,
then even though we are bad, at least then we can go, okay, this is at least an interesting conversation we can have. Or Jao Pedro and Gyökeres and Sasco, we
Sheshko.
can at least have that when you buy five wingers,
Mm.
you're like, bro, you just bought another winger. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? And we now don't play with wingers. So we sold another winger. So it's like the opposite. We have sold another, they have bought another. And we're like, okay, what else can you say? You can't say anything else.
My God, that conversation took a wild spin. At least it's better than Garnacho's hair. Great. In conclusion, 1-0 victory for Nathan and a 2-0 victory for Krishnan, and they really don't give a damn about what Garnacho does. Yeah, that is all we have for this episode. On that note, thank you so much, Nathan and Krishnan, bye for joining us on the pod. It truly was amazing to talk about Man United and Chelsea. And if Kishan Bhai, we also want to apologize if we just went ranting on Man United because that is what we do now. We wear old jerseys, we talk about the past, and then we drink a
I was also ranting, right? I was also ranting. So I see a lot of people might think, oh, because I don't speak a lot of positive things, I may not be, I'm not a fan or something. But I think a fan is not just supposed to support or just blindly go by what the club does and say, oh, the club has a plan, the club knows what they're doing. If they're wrong, they make mistakes, right? This transfer window is a clear cut example. You had to sign a defender at the beginning, and you had freaking 2 months to sign a goddamn defender. And see, let's be very honest, defenders don't come by in the market way
true,
too often. And when they come, you just got to grab them.
true.
Yeah. Unlike your other positions, defenders are like literally hired to retire. Like you join a club and you literally run down your entire contract and then you move on to a different club. Defenders are hard to come by, and when you get someone, you just got to just grab them. And we failed to do that. And people get excited saying, "Oh, we sold 300 million worth of players." Who cares, man? Really, that's really not going to solve the problem for you. Yeah, so I don't know. So I hope things change. And but on a positive note, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez have improved a
Yes,
lot compared to the last two
yes.
seasons. So that's one big positive. And a holding midfielder. I think Caicedo, when you look at his predecessor, like when you have had Kante, when you've had Matic, when you've had Essien, Obi Mikel, Claude Makelele, Caicedo he still has a long way to go, but he's getting there in terms of that maturity of a holding midfielder, the traditional number six role. And Enzo's been creative. Enzo's been that leader that we've not had for the last few seasons, but I hope to see some good defenders as well. So that will really help us a lot. Yeah.
Nice. I just told Krishan hasn't ranted a lot, and there was a rant at the end, and then pacified by his positive note. Thank you so much, Krishan Bhai, for that thought as well. But again, as always, it's been brilliant having you both, and I can only say great things about Nathan's channel, Sports Nut Nathan. So all of his socials, we're going to have it in the description for you to follow. Give him a subscribe, and yeah, if things go well after the Chelsea match, you'll see a happier Nathan. If things go bad, you will just see more of the same, which is all of us. And again, also, we will have Krishnan Bhai's socials. He doesn't do YouTube, but you can always go to his restaurants and have a good plate of idli and chutney for sure. That I can guarantee, and I'm sure Krishnan Bhai will guarantee as well. Brilliant.
Yes.
So, thank you so much, guys. And as always, please do share and subscribe to our own content on Football Corner Pod. And as I can say, your love and support has been par excellence, allows us to bring on people like Nathan and Christian Bhai again and again to the channel as well, and helps us improve our content. So, thank you so much. And that's all we have for today. And keep it coming, guys, your support. And until we see each other on another episode, take care, be safe, and be aware of any corners taken quickly. Have a nice one. See you. Bye.